Emily Powers, and in this video I'm going to be painting this galaxy sky with a tree silhouette. I think it'll be really easy and fun, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do it so that you can follow along with me and paint it if you'd like. The canvas panel I'm using is a 9 by 12 inch Phoenix canvas panel, and the colors are titanium white, deep magenta, phthalo blue, dioxazine purple. This is iron oxide, or not iron oxide, red ochre. I don't know why I had that other name in my head, but this is red ochre. You could use burnt sienna, I would say. I've never used red ochre before, but I think it's very similar to burnt sienna, and I think there might be a few differences, but I guess I'll find out when I get to using it. But you could use burnt sienna and I think it would work just the same. And then this is Mars Black and some glazing liquid. And these are all acrylic paints. And the brushes I'm using are a 1/2 inch Filbert for like the laying in of the background. And I got two different stipplers, so it's the 3/8 inch and the 1/4 inch Deerfoot. And then a small round, and I'm going to be using a fan brush for like the grass and maybe the stars. You could also use like an old toothbrush and flick them like that, and that would work if you don't have one of these. Okay, so I'm just going to get started by, I'm just taking my spray bottle and spraying the paint and the canvas. It'll keep the paint wet and it'll help the paint to flow on the canvas better. I'm going to take my 1/2 inch Filbert and I'm going to use some Phthalo Blue and actually I might just start with that and just kind of flick that in. I might add a little bit of the red ochre to kind of tone it down a little bit. And if I say burnt sienna, I'm sorry, that I have a feeling that I'm going to, but that's what I'm used to. So if I say burnt sienna, that's what I'm referring to right there. So I just have a feeling that's what I'm going to call it. So, and I'm just kind of going in these X motions. And I want it more blue than the red oxide though. And it's kind of making it a little green-ish. It's not pure blue, it's kind of a green. And then I'm going to take more Phthalo Blue and a little bit of white with it and start putting that in above. I might add a little bit of glazing liquid. So if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I do a new video every Friday, so if you want to learn how to paint, or you just, even if you're more experienced, you just like watching people paint, then I think you would enjoy those videos. I have a whole playlist of beginner tutorials like this, and also a playlist of harder tutorials, more intermediate to advanced tutorials, and also some specific playlists like trees and landscapes and animals and things like that. And if you do paint this, you can share it with me on my Facebook group, Powers Paint and Post. I would really like to see that. And I should be doing a poll at some point for future videos, so that'll be fun. Okay, so I just kind of started with the kind of teal color we made, and then I did more of the blue and the white as we got closer to this point, so it's lighter right here and kind of goes out to a darker blue, and then it kind of turns purple, so I added some of the deep magenta to the phthalo blue, and I'm getting more of the glazing liquid, just putting that in. These colors are really, really pretty together. I really like them. Okay, and I think I'll add a little bit of purple with some white because it's not really a very dark purple. If you do just the Dioxazine Purple by itself, it kind of turns it black almost. So this is like the Dioxazine Purple and Deep Magenta with some white. Adding the glazing medium will give me more dry time and help it to kind of blend better. Okay, now I'm going to get more of the deep magenta as I go down. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of go with the pink straight. I still got some of those other colors on my brush though. I'm going pretty far down because the grass and everything in the silhouette is kind of far down here, so it's just kind of a small hill. I want to make sure it's better to go too far down than not low enough. Okay, and then I'll get some of the black, the Mars black, and, well, actually, I'm going to rinse that out. I think I need to go a little farther in this corner before I do that, so. Because it kind of does like this, so the corners, you're going to have to go even farther. So now I'll get that black and kind of put it in on here. I'm not going to worry too much if it blends or anything, because it's wet, so it's going to, but we're probably going to go over this black another time, so. So just kind of do this hill shape. And I may kind of do like this at the end so that it won't be a hard line that I'll have to cover when I do my grass. So kind of just gently flick up. I don't want to go too high though, because I want to be able to put some grass and have some stuff in between them where you can see the background, but I don't want that edge to be too hard, because if it's just one line, it can kind of be hard to cover over when you go back. Alright, so it's definitely going to need more layers, but we'll do that. So I'm going to dry it and come back and do the next step. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'll move on to the next step. So I'm going to take the same brush and kind of do these steps a second time to get it to cover better. But this time I think I'm going to start with a Phthalo Blue and white because it kind of got too teal up here, I think. So I'm going to do that first. So I'm also getting the glazing medium with it to kind of help it go on better. And now I'm going to get a little more of the Phthalo Blue as I go out to kind of make it darker. And you can see that second layer is covering a lot better than the layers before it. Or the layer before it, I should say. It was only one. And the glazing medium will help me to be able to have more time to blend them, but I don't want to add too much or else it'll kind of be too see-through, and I want to kind of cover up a lot of this, which we're going to do at least one more layer, and I'm going to scrub in some of the blues and purples and things in with my stippler, and that should kind of help it to be a little more blended. So I am adding some white to this. I started just kind of going pure, but since the blue is transparent, it's kind of just showing through too much. So I'm going to add some white even in the darker areas. And then hopefully in the next layer we can cover that up better. Okay, and then I'm going to get some of the red ochre. I keep having to look back at the bottle and see what the name of it is because I keep forgetting. Okay, and I'll add a little bit of white to it so that I can cover better. So it kind of makes it like a teal. See, it's kind of green, and that kind of amazes me because, you know, you would not think that those two would make like a teal green. Of course, it is more of the blue, so if you did half and half, it would be a little different color, but it's still amazing that those two together would make it look green. I'm just kind of making more because it's like I keep running out every time I try to get more of that. Okay, and then I'm going to get some purple with it, kind of see what that makes. That's pretty good. I'm going to put some of that in. And then right about in here, it's very light. So I'm going to get the purple with white and some of the glazing medium. There's some over here too that's pretty light. I might get some of the pink with it, just to kind of change that color a little. And we'll kind of change this a little bit. I'm not being super careful because we're going to go with that other brush later and scrub in some, blend it and scrub it in. So now I'm making like a pinky purple with the deep magenta and the Dioxazine Purple and putting that in. And really there's quite a bit of pinky, purpley colors up in here. And up in here. Over in this corner, this side. And then I'm going to get the deep magenta straight and add some white to it to cover. So it'll cover. My blue and my pink kind of merged there, but that's okay. So this is a lot lighter than I want, but when we do the other layers, we'll darken it up. And if you wanted it this light, then you could keep it that way. And I'm not worrying about going over that black because it'll be a lot easier for that black to get covered later than for me to, or it would be easier for me to go back with the black later than it will for me to go back with this. So the black will cover over that pink really easily. Alright, it's getting a lot brighter. I like it. Of course, I think this is probably a little higher up, but I'm not going to worry about that. I was just kind of roughly putting my colors where I need them to go. Alright. And so I think I'm going to do another drawing. Well, let me put a little more black. So I want to make sure that the last layer of black is good and dark. And I'm getting the glazing medium to help it to go on better. I'm going to do that same thing that I did last time, just kind of sticking up like this. And if you didn't have a fan brush and you were going to use a toothbrush for the stars, but you still need something for the grass, you could just do this and it would be pretty good. Because it does kind of make some grass. As long as you kind of flick it out like that, it should be pretty grass-like. So you don't have to have the fan brush if you don't have it, you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so I'm rinsing my brush out real good and I will dry it with my hair dryer and come back. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'm going to do the next step where I'm scrubbing in the color. So I'm going to get the 3/8 inch Deerfoot stippler, and I don't want to wet it because then it kind of doesn't work as well when it's wet. If you can kind of just dip it in the water a little bit and tap it real good on your rag so that it doesn't, you want to get all that moisture out. It would just be slightly damp. So I'm going to get the Phthalo Blue just by itself and kind of scrub that in. And you really, really, really want to make sure that it's good and dry, because if you do this step and it's not dry, then it could very easily lift off your paint underneath. Okay, and I'm going to add some glazing medium to it just to make sure that it will stay dry longer. Just kind of going in these circular motions. And I'm going to go up in here. Just kind of going to cover this whole thing and then come back with the lighter, kind of blend that in. Okay, so now I'm going to get some white and add that to it and scrub that in. And there's a little pocket of lighter blue over here. So when I first put the color down, I'm kind of scrubbing kind of hard, and then I kind of lift off a little bit and kind of lightly blend them. And there's like a little bit over here. If I just want a little bit of color, then I kind of scrub the color off on my paper towel or my rag, or paper towel if you use that, and kind of get the extra off. And it's drying down there, so I'm gonna get a little bit of the burnt sienna with it and a little bit of white, but I want it mainly the darker color. And just kind of scrub that in there. So these brushes are really heavy duty. You can kind of be rough with them and they'll still be fine. So don't be afraid to really scrub hard if you need to. And I'm going to put the lighter up in here. I'm going to get out a bunch of that color, so I just have a little bit and kind of scrub it in. This is really fun to do this scrubbing motion. And I'm going to get some white with this color over here too, so that I can kind of put some lighter in this more greenish area over here. And I'm doing this wet into wet, so this is just the way I like to do it most of the time. With this type of thing though, anyway, I kind of feel it's easier for me to do it wet into wet like this. to get the magenta with the blue and kind of scrub some of that in with my other color kind of below it. It's kind of got some of that white still in it, so it's kind of mixing. Get more of the pink. I think I picked up more of the blue. Let me get some more of this out. And I really get some of the pink and a little bit of the burnt sienna to kind of turn it to like a really dark peach color. And kind of scrub that in. It's a really, really pretty color. And then in here is the white with some of the deep magenta and the dioxazine purple. And I'm going to scrub. It's a little darker than that. I'm going to try to get some more of that green and kind of scrub it in with it so that it'll blend, because up there's kind of dry already. I'm going to get a little bit of the blue in there and kind of put some blue color in it. And then I'll get Dioxazine Purple and some of the pink, mainly purple, and scrub that in. Kind of give it some darker parts. This may be a photoshopped picture, because I would think that you wouldn't really see this kind of sky with a tree. I mean, you might, but I don't know. I would think it would be kind of rare if it ever even happens. But I don't know. It looks cool, so. I'm getting more of the magenta now with this color, and I'm going to start scrubbing that in. just lightly tapping over that to kind of blend those colors together. You can tap out most of the paint on your brush to kind of help you be able to blend. If you have too much paint, it can kind of just smush around and not really blend a whole lot. I'm getting some of the glazing medium to help it stay dry. And then pretty much straight pink with some white, just a little bit though. The white will kind of help it to kind of get lighter. And it'll brighten it up quite a bit too by adding that little bit of white. You could use like a fluorescent maybe color down here because it's very, very bright. And I'm gonna get more of that out. Okay. Alright, so now we got that all filled in. And I'm going to take some white with the purple and kind of mix it with pink so it's got a little more purple in it now. And put some of it down in here. Kind of lighten that up. My rag is like really, really dirty now. It's got like tons of paint all in it. Alright. Now I think I'm going to rinse that brush out and get my smaller one. I might be able to get a little bit more, a little smaller pockets of brightness in there. So this is more of like a bluish purple. And it's kind of in here. So we're almost done with this, and then we can start on the stars and the silhouettes. And then I'm going to get some bluish purple pink again, and kind of do some over here. Some lighter pink. And I'm going to get this blue and kind of get some glazing medium with it and kind of scrub in some of that. Some pockets of that in there. And there was some really light blue. Up in here. And I'm going to get a lot of glazing with liquid. I'm going to get some of the blue with it to kind of blend it so it's not just a pocket of bright right there. And there's kind of like a pocket right here. It's pretty bright. And I'm just trying to get the shape of this, like the way I like it. There's not really a whole lot to say when I'm just working on the same spot after I've already said what I'm doing. So there's, the bright is mainly in section. There may be a little bit down in here. I got a hair that's like going way off of that brush right there. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Just like trying to get off. He's like, let me go now. And then there's a little bit of lighter right there. Alright, I think it's ready for some stars. Now, I might put a little more of a pinkish purple. Put a little bit more of it right in here. Alright. So now I'm going to, I keep rinsing my brush out and then keep working on it. Okay, now I'm not doing anything else. I'm good now. Okay, so when I do stars, you want to have the background dry so that if any of the stars are too big or you don't like them, then you can just lift them off with your rag. So I'm going to have to dry this before I do the stars, but there's a spot that kind of lift off there. Okay, so I'm going to dry it and come and do the star part. Actually, I know I keep doing this, sorry. There's a part right here that's kind of got some darker, so it's like pink and blue, so it's like a little bit of a purple color, and it kind of comes out right here. Just a little bit. Okay, that's good. Actually, I keep doing that. I don't know what. I guess I'm being just kind of picky right now. Just gonna kind of blend it more. It was kind of not blended enough. All right, that's done. I'm good. Never mind. Okay, so now I'm gonna dry this and come back. Okay, so now we're going to do the stars, and I'm going to take my fan brush. It's a Bristle Fan, and I'm going to wet it, take some of my whites, go over here, and you want a lot of water. So you want it to be like milk consistency. It's got to be really thin, or else it won't come off your fan brush very well. And like I said, you could take your old toothbrush and load it on the end and kind of spray if you wanted to. Sorry if you heard that growl, that was my dog. She likes to kind of make herself heard while I'm doing the videos. So, okay, so that should be pretty good. So I'm going to test it. I'm going to hold it firm with this hand and tap. Okay, so this is, when I first learned this, I was like super amazed at how this works. I was like, you would think, you know, if you've never heard of anyone doing this before, you would think that you would just kind of do each one individually, but this is like so much better and faster. Okay, so now I'm going to water it down a little more. Try to get some bigger drops if I can. Because the thinner the paint, the bigger the drops will be. Okay, I'll see how that does. To get some bigger ones. And don't worry about getting too many stars in there. You just can't have too many. And don't be afraid to go over the black some, because we don't want it to be like a halo around the hill there. All right, I like it. It's really bright and, well, it's dark, but it's colorful and starry, and I like it. And that part is like probably the most fun part, I would say. And it's so short. It's like you wish that it would be longer. Okay, so I'm gonna get that fan brush again and get my black and kind of thin it out a little bit. Not nearly as thinned out as what we just did, just enough that we can kind of flick some grass in here. So we do a little bit, and it doesn't need a whole lot, just a little bit, and you can kind of put it in different directions so it doesn't look so perfect. And you can see when we're doing the grass, it kind of gets a little bit taller. That's why we don't want to start the hill off taller than, we want to kind of make it shorter than it needs to be, so when you put the grass it won't look like way too high. And if you wanted to, you could kind of make the hill kind of go up and then have the tree over here, or you know, just kind of play around with it and kind of make it your own. This is just, I'm just copying the pictures, so. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of just take this and kind of do another layer of black in this vertical motion. And cover up any of those stars that got into the grass over here. We don't want stars in the grass. If the stars were in the grass, it might even look like it was snowing. I'm making some clipping noises with this. Alright, so we got that covered pretty good, I think. There you go. So now we're ready for our tree. And we're not doing so bad with time. I think I'm going pretty fast. It'll be a shorter one. I thought the horse that we did a few weeks ago was going to be like an hour, and it was an hour and 40 minutes. So I'm not always the best at calculating how long it'll take, but it was a really fun one too. So I'm going to get my small round and load it with black, and I thinned it out a little bit. And right in the middle, about here, is where that tree is going to go. And the trunk is pretty thick. And if it's a little off center, you don't have to worry about that too much. Just kind of get it in the general middle, get it close. And I'm just going to do all these branches. I don't worry too much about making little branches though, because the foliage is pretty thick in here, so. But there is like a small one that kind of comes off. You kind of see. But I'm not gonna worry too much about it. So you kind of do a ugly tree right there. And then we're gonna put in the leaves. So get the 1/4 Deerfoot, 1/4 inch, and get the black. I'm gonna go kind of up here. And it's kind of figuring out where the leaves go. there's kind of like a dip in it there, and then there's just a little bit of them right there, and then it gets really thick again. So kind of, and at the top and the bottom, it's going to be kind of to where you can see through, but in the middle here, you kind of want to fill it in because it's really thick, and but you kind of want to see where those branches come off a little bit too. Okay, so I'm gonna, actually I might, it's kind of a little bit too bare over here, so I'm gonna put a little bit more right in there. Okay, and rinse that brush out. I'm going to get my round brush again and kind of darken those tree branches. It was a little too see-through. Okay, so there we go. There's the starry night galaxy-ish silhouette tree. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call it, but it was really fun. I hope you try this. If you do, like I said at the beginning, you can share it with me on my Facebook group. The link to it's in the description, and I would really like to see your painting from this. The schedule that I have for April is right here. The next one we're doing is the horse. It's kind of funny when I tried to print that out, like, we must be running out of yellow because all of the yellowish spots were like pink. And so it looked, even the green was pink, so it's like, it looked really bad. But, and the beach is on there already. So, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was really fun. I really liked doing it. The colors were really interesting. I don't do a whole lot of paintings with these colors together. And the red ochre, I didn't really notice a big difference from the burnt sienna. So maybe if I try it a little more, I will notice a difference. But for the moment, I don't really notice anything. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching. Bye.